Hello, this is Joe, your friendly neighborhood having an epiphany posted on the internet guy. How you guys doing out there? I was sitting here and I was thinking about some things. First of all, if you know, I started with childhood trauma, then spirituality, into energy. So now I'm doing a series of releasing videos on doing energy readings on like current topics. Sometimes I have epiphanies, as you guys perhaps know, and I'll do a video on that. This one here happens to deal with something that happened in my past. Firstly, let me preface this. I grew up from the age of, it seemed like it was a hell of a lot longer, but I was in a particular foster home for about 5 or 6 years. 5 years, actually. It seemed like it was the world. But really, this particular foster home, as I spoke, and I tell you guys where I received childhood trauma of sorts and everything, but this here that I'm speaking about does pertain to that because it actually occurred while I was in this foster home. And okay, let me get into the story because I don't even know how to dress it or set it up. My foster brother and I, as you know, I am African American. My foster brother, he was Jewish, or he is Jewish. He's alive, the last I knew. So he and I, we love cars. We love working on cars. He went on to get his license in mechanics, engineering, not engineering, but mechanics, automobile mechanic, and then he ended up being like a body man, whatever. Me, I went into the military and took my interest and got involved in a particular job in the military where I utilized my tinkering abilities: gas, diesel, turbine, electric circuit board, air conditioning, refrigeration, hydraulics. I did all that. But anyway, it was 1997. He and I, we were both in love with the Mustang 5.0 T-top. So on a whim, I don't even recall how we decided to do this. We actually went to a Ford dealership, and if I'm correct, we actually got on a bus and went. I'm tripping because I'm thinking where this dealership was located in relation to where we stayed, we weren't driving. We didn't have a license, so we had to have taken a bus. For some reason, I can't remember that. But anyway, so we get to this Ford dealership. And this is in Illinois, Chicago, in a suburb, actually. I darn near can say the name of the place. Anyway, so we get in there and we start looking at the cars. Me and my foster brother were every bit of, we're 16. Because we were the exact same age, except for 2 days. Allegedly, my birthday was on the 8th and his is on the 10th of the same month. So we're looking at a Mustang. We're actually outside the car lot and we're looking at it. And a gentleman, a car dealer, salesman, he comes over. He said, "Hey, how you guys doing?" "Oh, we're cool." He said, "You guys from around here?" Like, "Yeah, we live up, such and such place, and we're going to be graduating high school." And, our parents, where this dealership was situated, it was very believable that kids would come there and their parents would buy them a car for for a birthday, for a graduation, whatever. They get their license, they get them a car. So this was very believable, especially because, one, we were young, okay, but for us to be on that lot looking at cars, it meant that we had a license or something or whatever. I'm trying to really figure this out because it makes, now that I think about it, it makes absolutely no sense for this car salesman to actually do what we're about to do. So we're looking at a car. We're looking at a Ford Mustang. That's our dream car. And he says, you want to test drive it? And see, me and my foster brother, we didn't discuss actually taking the car out, test driving. We're 16 years of age. We do not have a license. Although our foster father taught us how to drive on a 78, 79 Mercedes-Benz 280 SE 5-speed. And so we were pretty good with, driving a stick. And I'm ecstatic. This man just said we can drive. He didn't ask for a license. Hell yeah, I want to drive. So he said, you want to test drive one? I'm like, I looked at my foster brother. He looked at me. I'm like, I'm the first one. I'm like, yeah. Okay, we got one. We check it out. Let me go get the keys and get situated and everything like that. So he goes, disappears to get the key. And my foster brother, I do not remember the conversation. But because I was the one who said, yes, we want to test drive it, my foster brother looked at me. You the one said you wanted to drive it. So it was kind of unspoken. I'm about to drive. Don't have a license. Did not go to driver school to learn. I learned in a parking lot. As a matter of fact, a Jewel's, a food store parking lot. Our foster father would take us there at night and have us drive around, go through the motions. So, gentlemen, the car salesman comes back. Excuse me. He comes back, gives us the keys and everything. And sure enough, I'm about to drive it. This is a spanking brand new car. Now, the only other car that I had driven on this earth was a Mercedes-Benz 78 280 SE L 5-speed. So we get in the car. My brother, he's in the back seat. As a matter of fact, they didn't have a T-top. They gave us the keys to a convertible. It was a convertible Mustang 96, 97. Because I remember that was the only way that my brother could actually get in there. He just hopped over in there. So anyway, I'm driving. So I pull up out. We all get in. The car salesman, he's obviously in the front seat. I'm the driver. My brother, he's in the back. And the way that this street goes, it's like, I drive, and I'm about to come out the lot, and you just make a right turn and then merge in traffic like this. Well, we're in traffic, right? It's a 5-speed. We're in traffic. The way that the street was set up is that if you're going to make a right turn at the light, all you have to do is yield and just merge in. So it's a gradual turn, and you merge in. So that's what the car salesman's like, we're just going to go around the corner, make right turns. Gotcha. This is a brand new car. It's a Mustang 97 drop top, 5-speed, 5.0. So as I approach the corner, so I can make the right turn, so I can merge into the traffic coming this way. So I'm coming this way, and the traffic's merging this way. I gotta go like that to merge. So as soon as I merge, I do my downshift. I think actually I probably was in third, and I just dropped it down to second to make my turn. So as I made my turn, I came up off the clutch too quick. This is a brand new Mustang. and I'm in a turn. What happened? As I went to the turn, the back end just fished out. So it's like, so if I could say, we made the turn, and then the back end fished out. Then it fished again. By that time, the dealer, the salesman, he's on the side of me. I see him grab his seatbelt. Matter of fact, he doesn't do it then. We reverse the traffic. It fishes out. It fishes again. Instinctively, I swear to goodness, I had never been in this situation in my life. Like I said, I had been taught how to drive a stick by my foster father, but it was not a race car. I instinctively knew that regardless of what direction the back end went, my hand stays firm with the wheels pointing forward. Did you hear that? I kept my hand firm, keeping the steering wheel, pointing forward. I said that wrong. I was excited. While the back end is fishing, the front tires are still pointed straight ahead. And I instinctively, I hit the clutch. I popped it into second. I went from third to second. No, I popped the clutch and I popped it in third. And then I came off the clutch real quick this time, and it just, as soon as I came off the clutch, it was in a fish. It went in a fish. I hit the clutch, boom, it stuck and it took off. Then the car salesman in the passenger seat, front seat, he grabs his seat belt and he buckles himself in and he says, "I see you know how to drive this." Now, the reason I'm mentioning this, as I stated before, I had perhaps learned to drive. I had driven, I believe, maybe 2 times. Our foster father took us to this lot so that we may get familiar with driving a car, and even more so a standard ship. But that was all, you know, it's a standard. So it's bump and go, you know, trying to get the clutch, coming up off the clutch right and everything like that. But I didn't have to worry about that with this particular muscle car, this Mustang. How did I know to not freak out when the back end got away from me one way, then it got away the next way? How did I know to, regardless of what direction this back end goes, I know these wheels, this steering wheel needs to be, these tires need to be pointing in the direction I want to go. I don't care what the back end does. And I think there's a message in that. Regardless of the things that may happen in a person's life, to keep yourself centered, as I'm believing, kept myself centered with keeping both hands. One hand, 16 years old, brand new Mustang, keeping one hand on the wheel and making sure that wheel did not move or turn when the car turned, and the other hand free to actually make the transition to the next step, the next stage, the next gear that I was supposed to. And so what I'm getting from that, there's several things, but the one thing I want to talk about is that a lot of times in our life, we'll find ourselves in situations where we would not know what to do if it was presented to us in the form of, if this happened to you, what would you do? We have no idea. But in the moment that something occurs in your life that could very much determine life and death, there's an energy that automatically takes over. That is not the only time something like that happened in my life. That may be perhaps the first time, as I'm saying, I remember it, that an energy took over my body. And what I mean by that, this was purely instinct. And when I say purely instinct, I had no idea what the hell I was to do or what I was doing. It was like for that moment, when the car got away from me, I immediately no longer had control of the car. I no longer had control of my body. Something else was there. That which I believe was there is the energy that is in all of us. That the energy that is in all of us. And this energy that is in all of us helps guide and walk us through life. Now, what you people perhaps out there want to say is definitely God, whatever you want to call it. I'm saying for me, because today at my age, I recognize as being spiritual and dealing with energies. That is what I can prove. And I don't even like I started to say, I don't even like to say God. I don't like to say energy. I don't like to use anything that man has put a name on to describe something that there is no name for it. Everything that has a name has been given a name by man. And in doing that, what I believe, we've added restrictions to things by giving names and labels to them. It's my personal belief. Now, this situation could have gone so wrong, but in the moment when I needed direction, when I needed help, because I was in a situation I was not familiar, something else came and took over. I felt, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I felt like a champion NASCAR driver, whatever, because here's this older gentleman, got to be late 20s, early 30s. And here I'm half his age, and I'm showing him that I can handle all the power of this 5.0 brand new Mustang, tight clutch and everything. I can handle it. And truth, I knew how to drive a stick, but not the way that it was shown coming out of this with the back end moving and everything. And that simply happened because I want to believe that it hit a wet patch or something like that, or I just came off the clutch as I was going into the turn to merge, and it spun. What happened to me, as I stated, was an energy took over in that situation. What I also would add is that it was an experience that I had to have for me to say today, and I have it on video, recognizing so long ago, that's like 30 some plus years for me, that something was in my life because there was something that I was supposed to do. So that could not be my end when there was something further along in my life that I was to do. Another situation. I'm on a interstate driving between two. I'm in Minnesota. I'm driving from one town to another. I happen to be in my old car. I love it, and I know that car is sitting in the junkyard still. I wish I could go get it. And it's been all this long. It might be gone by now, but I had an 82 Impala. Mechanic did all that, changed the motor, 305 to a 350, T4, did all that. I was in a situation where, and I believe I explained this in a podcast, but I'm going to state this again because, as I stated, when I had the situation to go and test drive this Mustang, I was 16 years of age with no license. This situation I'm going to tell you about now, I was 20 years older, still without a license. I lost it, but I hit a patch, what they would call black ice, that forms, believe it or not, on overpass, underpass, whatever. And I was on interstate. It was like 1, 2 in the morning, whatever. And I hit this black ice. I'm in an 82 Impala. This is the way cars were supposed to be built. Iron, steel, whatever. It's a big, heavy car. My back end, just like in the Mustang, the back end got away from me. It went one way, it went the other way. When I realized that I could not do anything, mind you, when I was a youngster, I kept my hand on the steering wheel to keep the wheels forward. When I knew it did not matter, I immediately let go of the steering wheel. Mind you, I'm going about 65, something 70 miles an hour, and I hit black ice. And my back end goes one way, then it goes another way. I try to counter steer. It's getting away from me. I let go of my steering wheel. I grab my seat belt. I snap it in, and I take my hand. I grab the bottom of my seat, and I hold on to my seat. I took my foot off the gas. I know not to touch the brake on ice. This car has to slow down on its own. I gave authority for what was to happen in my life at that very moment. I surrendered to the universe. I surrendered to that which I believe created me and created all things. I was in a situation I could not handle. I let go of the steering wheel. I let go of the steering wheel, snapped on my seatbelt, and braced myself. What ended up happening was the car, it righted itself. It came out of it because, no more forward motion, the gas, and then it slowly drifted into the middle of the interstate where there's grass. And it came to a stop. And I didn't have my hand on the steering wheel at all. Once I knew there was nothing I could do, I let go of it. What I get out of that? Firstly, I do want to say this. I know I mentioned the first story, which happened when I was 16. The second story, what I just spoke about, happened a good 20, 25 years later. 15 to 20 years later. Okay? What that tells me right now is that some things are to happen in your life, and they're going to happen in cycles. Just as this happened when I was 16, it happened again. This time when it happened, trying to maintain control, it was almost to say, let me explain it like this. It was almost to say, because I remembered the situation from a youngster and that, that happened, I had complete faith that things were going to be exactly as they were supposed to, and I let go of the steering wheel. At 16, I wouldn't dare do that. But at my age, I knew I can let go of the steering wheel right now. And that's what I did. And the car came to a rest. So things happen on a cycle. Those of you out there that are listening, I would dare challenge you to remember some things from your past and then things from your future. You'll see that. I'm going to just put it like this. Look at 15 years ago for yourself. Look at 20 years ago, however old you are. However old you are. Look at 5, 10, 15, 20. Look at however old you are. Remember things that happen. Things that happen you're going to have emotional attachment to. And compare them with other situations in your life that you also have emotional attachment. You're going to find that it is a cycle. Things happen once, they happen again, they're going to happen again. And it is almost like a lesson in it, because as I stated, I actually kept my hand on the steering wheel at 16 because I was untrusting. And I had two people in the car with me that I didn't look at it like that. But yeah, I can't kill these people that's with me, you know. But being in the car by myself as I was, 20-some years, 15, 20 years later, I was confident enough that everything was going to be fine, that I could let go of the steering wheel and not worry about a thing. Fully accepting fate at that moment, accepting the fate of my very being, that if I am to move on from this situation, I'm going to be fine. If I'm not, this is where it ends. I accept that. And nothing happened. The car came to a stop. I was able to pull my car up out of the middle of the interstate. There's 2 lanes going north, south, east, west, whichever, but it's 2 lanes. I could pull myself up out of there and just drive on about my business. But I never forgot that, and that's why I would challenge those of you that are listening. Things that have happened in your life, 5, 10, 15, 20, you're going to see the same things happen because it's a cycle. Once you identify that not only did this happen at a particular age, it happened again, but the situation was different, but it's the same thing. Once you identify that there is a cycle going on, please understand the world that we live in. Understand the world that we live in. Like what I just said, I can identify that. There are things currently going on that I realize that I am in a cycle. And needless to say, I am in a cycle with individuals that perhaps know that it's a cycle because this is something they've been through before, but what they perhaps have not been through is this type of cycle that they're actually in, that I'm actually a part of. And the reason I say that is because I do have some sort of knowledge that certain things that are awry in my life is as a result of someone, as any godparent, grandparent, or parent would do before they hand the reins over to someone they're going to give the company to or whatever. They want to make sure that they can handle the situations that are going to arise. So they want to school them in how to deal with certain situations. And I'm identifying that perhaps I may be a certain situation that they have to deal with. But the trick with this one, as I stated, this grandparent, this godparent, this parent teaching their child how to deal with certain situations, sometimes the lessons that need to be taught are the ones that you are to identify that this is the one that you don't mess with. This is dealing with something that, and that's the cycle that I'm in right now. I'm believing at least that people are starting to see that this may be a cycle that they have not had happen in their life. It could be a cycle that would happen only once in a person's life, whereas they have been involved in cycles 2, 3 times in their life, doing the same thing over and over. But then there comes one cycle that's only going to happen once in your lifetime, and that's the stake that I claim right now. The fact that, as I mentioned, someone trying to pass the helm to their son or daughter, whatever, in identifying certain situations, in doing that, they are supposed to identify who I am and know to pay attention if you see these marks, because this is the one you don't mess with. You teach what you are to do, and you pray and hope that teaching what a person can do will also allow them to understand very clearly what they cannot do. No matter how hard they try, they cannot do. Pay attention to that. So this is real quick. I got 30 minutes out of that. I don't know what you guys are going to think of this. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but you'll see it when I get on there. All right, this is Joe. Thanks, guys.